Beyond a critical point within a finite space, freedom diminishes as numbers increase. This is as true of humans in the finite space of a planetary ecosystem as it is of gas molecules in a sealed flask. The human question is not how many can possibly survive within the system, but what kind of existence is possible for those who do survive. Pardo Kynes, first planetologist of Arrakis.
Revenge. Revenge is what keeps me going. Keeps me moving, searching for him. My still suit runs dry. Water. It drains from my body like sand from my fingers. Yet my still suit runs dry. Omnifopters. I hear more and more every day. The Baron has since departed this dry and desolate land. And now I hear that House Atreides will be arriving on Arrakis. I guess it's their turn to rule, to control the spice. The Emperor's guinea pigs. But none of them care about the poor. None of them care about the little villages that litter this desert planet, scattered across the great flat. At least, none of them have proven thus far. Our clans go unnoticed. Our trade is for us. My village, my friends, off-worlders and spice traders. We live as peaceful as we can, as safe as we can on this doomed and dangerous planet. But this man, this soldier, took what was ours, took what was mine. And he murdered my family in the midst of his sins. I have nothing left now. No water to live for, no spice to trade. And no amount of melange will silence this pain inside of me. This urge for revenge. This urge for blood. For some reason, the army he arrived with has since stranded him, left him behind, and I've tracked him for days across the dunes, over the plains. I am no Fremen. But we villagers have learned to listen to the whispers of Dune, to stutter our footsteps, to avoid the old man of the desert, the great worm. I collected what water I could from the wind traps, the morning dew collectors. I seek out the creosote bushes, in hopes of obtaining what precious little water they may have trapped. Every now and then I see the kangaroo mouse skitter through the sand. I have no idea how they survive out here, what they do, where they go. running from one location to the other, hastened by the peril, before the desert hawks clutch them within their claws and whisper them away. The mighty sun is setting now, darkness falling upon the sands. But on the distance, a flash of light. It is him, for I am close now.
The winds of Dune blew gently across the plains, the sand tide easing its way toward the Sahaya Ridge. The dry air slowly cooling as the great white star of Canopus reached the horizon and bid its farewell to the moons rising before it. The sky that usually held a pale uniform dullness, an effect caused by the dust scattering the sun's light, now held a bluish hue that filled the atmosphere. As darkness began to take hold, and the milky glow of the heavenly bodies cast their power across the deep orange sand. Kreln, the largest of the two moons, proudly displayed its markings. The darker, beaten area that resembled a human hand, the so-called Hand of God, emerging from the barren expanse of the Great Plain, and now in the shadow of the Sahaya Ridge, some 234 meters tall. The deserted soldier stopped to rest, his eyes peering up toward the heavens. Abandonment and despair filled his soul.
Damn that man. Damn that beast Rabin for deserting me. I followed his orders, was loyal to the Harkonnens, and yet he deserts me upon doing his evil deeds. The Harkonnens have been ordered off this ball of sand that floats through space. In his envy, in his shame, he cursed this land, and on our way back to Arrakis, we passed through that poor village. I took no part in its destruction. Rabin and his men, our men, destroyed their stockpiles, burned their village to the ground, and murdered those poor innocent people. And me, for my sins, for not taking part in such devilish acts of cowardice, I have been left to face the desert alone. I can see the lights now, yes. That sunken depression must be the Imperial Basin, and to its north, the lights of Arrakis. Maybe I can find some solace there. Maybe House Atreides will take me in. Doubtful though. For even if I survive, I'm still doomed. The Harkonnens, the beast Rabin, will remember me, will send for me, will kill me, eventually. Or turn me loose to the great houses for punishment. The High Council would surely see to that. No, best to die out here, at the mercy of the scorching sun, at the hands of the Sandwalkers, or better still, in honor of Shai Hulud.
A deep rumble reverberated through the land, as if the world itself had been shaken to its core. The distant stirrings of the gods that lie below, deep beneath the sands of Dune. And then, shortly after, the cry of the wind enveloped the ridge, echoing across the land like a mother's call, calling her sons and daughters, a cry of warning, a plea for union, a wail of sorrow. The night seemed strangely serene, but this night, like those before it, would be tarnished by spilt blood. And in the placid desert that surrounded them, within this morbid tranquility, a deadly encounter was about to unfold. Footsteps, sand upon stone, filled his senses and garnered his attention. The deserted soldier turned to see the silhouette of a man, the moonlight just enough to show the cheap and worn stillsuit, barely hidden beneath a stained and tattered cloak. the man's blue eyes glowing in the darkness, weapon in hand.
You murdered my family, left them to burn, left them to die on the ground like dogs. And you shall pay for your actions.
The soldier stood fast, his hand reaching for his holstered lasgun, his training taking hold.
Your words are meaningless to me. I am a Harkonnen warrior. I do not feel pity or sorrow. I have no remorse.
The village trader grimaced, his hands grasped tightly around his wooden short spear.
And yet, you have been abandoned by your brothers.
They have gone before me.
No, they left you, deserted you.
I don't...
Your eyes betray your feelings. You feel sorrow for what you have done.
The soldier merely stood, motionless, in the night air as a breeze drifted over them. His thoughts swirled into chaos. The pain he felt inside was suddenly released.
I was not meant for this life. Not meant for this side. I chose not to be a Harkonnen. I was merely forced into it. I didn't take part in your village. What happened? I did not...
Silence! You have taken everything from me. The Harkonnen have bled this land dry and left its people to die a slow death.
We have done those things you say.
And you shall be punished. The Emperor punishes you already, ordering you to leave this land.
That is indeed correct.
And you choose to punish us upon your departure.
The soldier pondered his thoughts, his life, his choices. The things he had done under this so-called service. The decisions that had led him up to this point. He spoke now with some degree of finality, as if accepting his fate. His voice now nothing more than a melancholy whisper.
Have you ever wondered why the moons talk to us? The hand, the mouse.
The soldier released his fingers and removed his hand from the lasgun that had remained holstered throughout this encounter. Slowly, he turned his back on the villager and gazed up towards the stars. Above them, in orbit and barely visible to the naked eye, a fleet of ships crossed the body of the smaller moon, a precursor to the Atreides' arrival.
The Atreides arrived to build a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
The villager stirred as he lifted his spear and aimed it at the center point of the soldier's back. Anger and fury filled his heart.
What?
I read it somewhere, once.
The villager stepped forward. The soldier heard, but did not react.
Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether this nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who gave their lives, that this nation might live. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here, have consecrated it, far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note, nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here.
The villager, blinded by his anger, had not seen the true colors of this soldier that stood before him. nor the man that the soldier wished to be, wanted so desperately to be. And as he thrust his spear through the soldier's back, he felt no pity, no remorse, and yet neither did he feel pleasure nor justice. He simply listened as the dying man fell to his knees before him, under the pale glow of the twin moons on this desolate and mournful night. And through his last sputtering breaths, as he watched the fleet burn brightly as they entered the atmosphere of Arrakis, the soldier uttered,
"This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom."